the afikomen. Why not? Because you want the taste of the afikomen to linger. Meaning you want that special mitzvah to linger, and that's the point of every mitzvah, is that a relationship lingers. That's what we're trying to say. Okay? That's the idea. All I have to tell you as a side point, I had a Rebbe, a teacher, who was a son-in-law by the Kleins. The Kleins were a couple of brothers that came right after the war, and they had something, they made a chocolate. I remember Barton's chocolate. Does anybody ring a bell? Barton's, in those days, it was like it was the only probably Jewish kosher chocolate, but it was like considered to be the Godiva chocolate as well as the Hershey's bar, because that's the only choice you had. So they had Klein's chocolate. Klein's had their chocolate, and they actually made kosher Pesach chocolates also, which was a novelty at the time. And then one year they manufactured after Seder mitzvah. So my Rebbe, my teachers told his father, you can't produce after Seder mitzvah. You can't eat after the Seder. How can you call it after? That's misleading. Everyone's going to eat after Seder mitzvah. You're not eating mitzvah after Seder. So they actually they did a recall and they crossed out the word after. They called it Seder mitzvah. You call it Seder mitzvah? Yep. Okay. So aim after. So the Chacham again, he wants to know why all the different mitzvahs. I have a relationship. The answer is you do, but it's the details that make it memorable. Let's go to the Russian.
Before you do, Rabbi,
oh yeah.
I think an important aspect is where in the Torah do we get the quotation of the wise of a child, and it's right in Devarim, right at the introduction, where the next thing we read is the Chukim and Mishpatim, the whole long section going through all the laws.
Right, makes sense.
So that's why that's the wise child.
Yep, 100%. Very good, very good.
Why is he referred to Afikomen?
What do you mean? That's the whole idea that we're saying that you don't eat after the afikomen.
But why is it that makes him chacham?
No, we're trying to tell the chacham just like you do the mitzvahs, so the taste of the mitzvahs, the relationship lingers. The afikomen is like just like the afikomen. You don't eat after the afikomen because you want the taste of you want the mitzvah to be memorable.
Right.
So we're telling all the mitzvahs that we do is to make the relationship with Hashem memorable. It's the same idea. Just like by afikomen, you don't eat because you want the taste to linger on. Because you want the memory of that to linger on, So all the mitzvahs, in fact, are simply to make the relationship linger on. Let's go to the Russia. Ma ha'avoda azos lachem. Why are you doing this stuff? And because it's you and not him, he took himself out of the group, he becomes a heretic, knock out his teeth or weaken his teeth, and tell him, Hashem, this is me, but had he been there, he would never gotten out. Okay? So we like to take really broad shots at the wicked person, like we like to talk about it a lot. Truth of the matter is, he shows up at the Seder, we know, and the fact that he's engaged, it means something too. I think I once told you a story with Eli Wiesel. I heard this from Eli Wiesel. He said, after the war, he was so angry at God, he said, there's no more God. It can't be God. God could do this, no more God. And the first day he went down and bought himself a ham sandwich. Then he took a bite of the ham sandwich and he said, 1 second, if I don't believe in God, who am I trying to spite? Right? Makes sense. If I don't believe in God, who am I getting angry at? And that's when he realized, I could be angry at God, which means I believe in God. So the Russian might be angry, but the fact that he's angry means there's some sort of connection here, right? So let's see. He said, what is the nature of this avoda, this work to you? And because he took himself out of the group, he becomes a heretic. What does that mean? What we're telling this Russia is, the Russia shows up at the Seder. He says, guys, I like the Seder. It's a nice place to be. It's a trip down memory lane. I got Aunt Bertha's chicken soup. I got Uncle Leo's corny jokes. I got the whole spiel going. It's great. But then you turn the whole thing into an avodah, into a chore. I want to sit down to eat. No, you can't eat. That's the first time I get it. It's fine. No, you have to lean. Right? Okay, I lean. Now I can eat.
You've been to my house.
What? Yeah. That's right. So, no, I can't. You didn't lean. Do it over it, right? So every single, so every step of the way, which is it should be a fun night, you turn it into a chore. So you say, you know why you're doing that? Why you feel that way? Because you took yourself out of the group. Meaning, every sociologist will tell you that the only way you can really understand the culture is by living the culture. An outsider looking in never quite gets it. An outsider is an example of a guy walks outside and he sees these people trapped inside their dining room on Shabbos, sitting at a table. Whoa, they're trapped, they're stuck inside. No, that experience freedom. But from the outside looking in, right? So the Rosh says, it's a chore. Because from the outside looking in, it looks crazy. Everything is like nuts. Everything is, right? But keeping Shabbos a chore? No, Shabbos, I feel free. But for an outside doesn't get it. You're an outside. You took yourself out of the group, and that's why you became a heretic. And we weaken his teeth. So there's two ways to approach weakening his teeth. One thing I told you, I think, in the past, weaken teeth is like this. That we understand that even the wicked person, we got to know where he's coming from. It happens to me all the time. A guy says to me, Rabbi, I don't believe in Jewish souls, right? So I say to him, oh, you must be dating a non-Jewish girl. And he says, who told you? I said, you just did. Why? Because, what do you mean you don't believe in Jewish souls? You can't believe. Where did that come from? Because you don't want to believe in a Jewish soul. And now why don't you believe in a Jewish soul? Because then you have a problem. You're not a Jewish partner, right? Or somebody, I had a person came to me, Rabbi, it doesn't make sense. Meat is kosher? Yeah. Milk is kosher? Yeah. Can't put it together. Makes no sense. Oh, slow down. It can't make sense? One chemical, safe. The other chemical, safe. Put it together, explosion. It can't make sense? You don't want to give him your cheeseburger, right? Your question is not coming from up here. It's coming from here, right? Hakeshina means get the wicked person. No, where's your question coming from? Is it coming from really pics of interest? Or is it because, and again, it's okay. You want to admit that you don't want to give it your cheeseburger. Okay, it's a different conversation. If you want your stomach to dictate your ideology, that's a different conversation. Fine. But at least know where it's coming from. So Hakeshina means wicked. It's all about type, all about our physical desires. The one that's most prevalent is food, right? That's the one. I don't know, because you're feeding all of us, right? So food is the most recurring type. So weaken his teeth means get him to dull his appetite for 1 minute and realize it's not just about the food. That's one idea. The second is like this. It's also about recognizing. You know, at the end of this second song, we say, had he been there, he would never gotten out. You're talking to your son. Had you been there, he never got. What do you mean? Also, we shift the third person. Had he been, you're having a conversation with your son, right? Right? He says, why? What's the nature of your service? And we say, Hashem did this for me, right? You're talking this, and had he been there, why we shift to the third person? No parent is ever allowed to give up on their child. You can never give up on your child, and you can't let your child think you've given up on it. This Russia, you have to look behind the teeth. Means don't just look at the physical manifestation of his speech. See what's really going on inside of him. Hakeshina means get past the teeth and realize there's something deeper inside of him. And you never would acknowledge the fact that he's gone. That deep down he really wants, otherwise he wouldn't show up at the table. So you never say to him, had you been there, you would never gotten out. What kind of message is that then? I've given up on you. So you create a straw man. Oh, well, that guy with that attitude never gotten out. You don't want to say that to your son. You don't want to create that attention and that, I don't believe in you. So you create a straw man and say, you know what, had he been there with that attitude, he'd never gotten out. All right? And by the way, what does it mean he'd never gotten out? So the Rush, again, sees a bunch of details, boring details, and he says, who needs this stuff? And we tell him, look around. Just look around. Which Jews are around and which Jews are assimilated? The ones that don't pay attention to detail, the ones that pay halacha, they're gone. So with your attitude, you never got out because you would have been assimilated. Because if you don't pay attention to detail, if you don't pay attention to halacha, that kind of anchors you, you may want to feel Jewish, but guess what? It's going to disappear. Just look around you. Had he been there, he would have gotten out because he would have assimilated. Okay, let's go. Yeah.
When you're talking about the children,
Yeah.
my kids are now 33 and 37.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 20 or more years ago as they went through the yeshiva.
Yeah.
Every year at the Seder, they repeat what they learned at yeshiva more than 20 years ago.
That's gears of the opposite.
It stays with them.
Right.
This is
100% true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this is
true.
the wonderful part of the education.
Yeah, 100%. Let's
I have a question
Yeah.
here. I think the two expressions are basically the same. The Rasha
Yeah.
and the Chacham. Because the Chacham says a little bit more words, but he just says, what are these things for you guys? No, he has, of course, other words. And the Rasha says, the Avodah Zod Lachem.
Right,
He
good question.
skips
Excellent.
those other superficial or extra words. So
That's
it looks
why
like they are really saying the same thing.
That's why the context in the Torah is important.
Well, I understand, but I'm saying in this context, it looks like the Chacham is not as smart as the Rasha. The Rasha might be the smarter guy.
Yeah, the truth is, right, context is important. The Kliyaka points out the Russia, the paraphrase, the Russia, in the passage is V'hayi ki yamer lechem, and when he will say to you. The other son says ki yishalu, when they ask you. But the Russia says what he tells you. He's not asking,
Correct.
he's telling.
Right.
So
That's
it's really
the
context.
difference. That's
right, it's the context. It's
Right.
really the context.
Exactly.
Let's go now to the top. The Tam says mazos. What is this? Right? You know, I always say that. You know, somebody once asked his teacher, "What's the difference between ignorance and apathy?" And he said, "I don't know, and I don't care." Right? and that's really the Tam and the Eidim.
That's great.
The Tam is the ignorant one. He doesn't know. He says mazos. What does mazos mean? Mazos means, and the way Rosh Hashanah was explained, it was like, you can't, if you don't know anything, you can't say, I don't understand why in this Jewish law you have this detail. It's like, you can't, a child can't walk into a cockpit, and the pilot says, you want to answer the question? He says, yeah, you see that 38th dial over there? Why is the arrow pointing at a 30-degree angle? I mean, what's it? Do you know something called that a plane has two wings and something called aerodynamics? And right, you have to get the general idea first, then you go to specific. You can't. The Tom says mazos means something very specific. What's this? And we tell them, no, well, let's back it up. Let's get the whole story straight first. You can't go. Sometimes we're guilty of that. We fixate on one detail, one halacha. But you have to see context. There's a system called Torah. Once you understand the system, you can focus on the detail. But you can't do that right away. Then you have the 80-day lishol. He's apathetic, doesn't even ask. So, at sachlo means you open him up or you initiate. So I've said this before, and I think it's just really important, worth repeating. It's a beautiful analogy, or beautiful concept. What does it mean, open him up? It means like this. If like I said, I use an example. If I take a book, right, and I want to slap it against this wall, it's going to slide right down. Next thing. But if I have a little ledge over here, right, that has something to hold itself, it'll stick, right? Same thing. I can teach Torah, I see it all the time. I teach Torah to my students, and you can see that the stuff I'm telling you is literally sliding down the brain. You can watch their eyes glaze over, and it's just sliding down right now. You can see it, right? So the only way it's going to stay there is if I make a hole in their brain. How do you make a hole in the brain? Ask a question. You create a void, and then the answer has a place to be filled, and all of a sudden it latches on, because now it has meaning. So at psachlo means open him up. If he's apathetic, you have to challenge first. Like, what are you living for? What's your purpose? And once you create a void in him, then when you offer him an answer, it filled that void. It has a place to stay. So at psachlo literally open him up, create a question. Now, even though we're talking specifically about the Ein Yidei Lishol, but it really applies across the board. And really the theme of Pesach, of all the questions that we encourage and the answers that come with them, question and answer is exactly an analogy to Golus and Geula. Golus is the question. Why is something happening to us? Geula fills the void. Golus, we feel the void. We would not appreciate Geula unless there was a void first to fill. We go through a Golus, it creates a void. Geula fills that void. Question and answer that we have the entire Haggadah is to really kind of give us a taste of what Golus and Geula is supposed to be all about. Let me just conclude with one or two thoughts.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
On a Talmud Omer, the person who,
Yeah.
simple and naive, whatever, the language is used as mazot. Now, if you read the Parashat Hukat, Zot HaTorah, when it refers to that, means you don't understand the logic behind the Hukim. Could that be the time, as a question, what are these things? That
You say it's referring to the
hook, the thing that nobody has any explanation for, but you just have to take it on the face value.
Okay, I hear
Would that make?
It could be. It could be. It could very well be. It could be that way. I think that's a possibility. A second. Yeah, you don't have it. Okay. So when we go through Haggadah, we say V'nitzik al Hashem. We cry out to God, like it says in those days. The Melech Mitzrayim died, and Bnei Yisrael groaned because of their hard work, and they cried out, and their crying went up to Hashem, and then it says Hashem heard our voices, like it says V'yishmal Kim es Nakosim. Hashem heard their cries. All right. It's interesting. The Baal HaGadah says we cried out to our fathers, right? And like it says, Melech Mitzrayim died, Bnei Yisrael groaned, and they screamed, and the scream went up to Hashem. It never ever says in the psukim that we bring down, we cried out to Hashem. The Baal HaGadah says we cried out to Hashem, and then it quotes a pasuk which says that we groaned and cried out. It doesn't say to Hashem at all, right? So it's an incredible thing that what we're seeing over here is that same idea of never giving up on the Russia. It's a similar idea. Hashem also understood when we were crying out. Even if it didn't say we cried out to Hashem, Hashem understood that the cry was to Him. So it was considered a tefillah to Hashem, even if externally we're just crying because of the pain. But Hashem understood deep down it was a yearning to cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore God listened to us. Even though the cry seemed superficially no mention of Hashem, but Hashem saw the pain. Hashem understood the inner voice really was a cry to Hashem. I want to mention.
Thank you for explaining that. That's always bothered me.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. All right. Let me see. Just one or two more things. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Makas Becharis for a moment. It's interesting, by the way, just to kind of open your eyes to a whole new world, which I don't want to spend time on now, is all the Svarim say that the 10th plague, the Hashem created the world in 10 utterances, right? And right, the first utterance was Bereshis. Actually, it wasn't even a word. It was in the beginning. That's the first, and then Yihar is the first utterance, the second one, and each one of those created another layer of physicality, right? So Hashem said, Shaddai, enough physical layers, enough, right? Some stop, okay. So each utterance is another layer. That means the 10th utterance is the top layer. With me, right? Layers, right? With me so far? Yeah?
You're the bottom layer.
What?
The 10th utterance is the bottom layer.
No. Yeah, okay, listen. Each utterance is a much more physical cover-up. Right? So the 10th one is a final cover-up, right? Okay. The makos, each one was peeling away one layer. Each one was revealing till we get to the final stuff HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. So it's an inverse kind of reaction, right? So the first makkah is taking off, is kind of peeling away the layer of the 10th minor. With me so far? Okay. I'll tell you where I'm going with this. In Makas Choshech, and I think I mentioned this before, but now you see it in terms of Pesach. So every other makkah, it says there was dam for the blood for the Mitzrayim, no dam for the Jews. Tzvadeya for the Egyptians, no frogs for the Jews. Kina for the Egyptians, no, right? Makas Choshech says it was dark for the Egyptians and it was light for the Jews. It doesn't say there was no darkness, what you say. It says it was light. So the Kedush Levi has an incredible shot. Kedush Levi says that in fact, the Makas Choshech was not a Makas Choshech. It was a brilliant light that just like, you can overwhelm a sense, you can underwhelm a sense, or vice versa. If you speak too quietly, you can't hear. Or the noise is so loud, it's deafening, right? Mm-hmm. Or too little light, you can't see. Too much light, the light is blinding, right? And Chazal even say, when Mashiach comes, Hashem's going to take away the shield from the sun, the tzaddikim will be healed by it, and the Hashem will wither. The same light, if you're able to handle it, it's healing. But if not, it causes you pain. Makas Choshech was a revelation of light. That's why it was light for the Jews. That the Jews could handle, and therefore they were able to see everything. Whereas for the non-Jew, for the Mitzrayim rather, it became a blind light that they were like staring at the sun, so therefore it became black. So by the way, look at this. And the last Makkah was Makas Bechoros, right? Which we'll get to in a second. Just look at the last two peels, right? So the 10th Makkah is going to touch the first minor, right? And the 9th makkah is going to touch the 9th makkah is going to touch the second minor, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's see this. The 9th, the second minor, well, the 9th makkah is Choshech, which we now explain is really a brilliant light. And what's the second minor? Yihar. So therefore, the second makkah parallels or is stripping away, right? The first minor was Bereshis. Right? What's the 10th makkah? The first Bechar was Bereshis. Alright? So you can actually see how each makkah is really peeling away. That's where he goes. Okay. So let's go to Makas Bechoros for a second. Makas Bechoros is, we talk about Pesach being Passover because Hashem passed over the homes of the Jewish people. Right? We talked about it earlier. That means really we skipped over the interim steps. But if you take it literally, which you should as well, that Hashem skipped over our homes. Why is that a big deal? And what I mean by that is, every makkah was that way, that Hashem gave the Egyptian makkah and spared the Jews. Blood for the Egyptians, no blood for the Jews, he said, right? It's right there. So, of course, Makas Bechoros, same thing. Makas Bechoros for the Egyptians, no Makas Bechoros for the Jews. Like, we make such a big deal that Hashem passed over our homes, whereas every single makkah, Hashem spared the Jews. The answer is that the first 9 makkahs were punishment for the Egyptians. So, of course, Hashem spared the Jews because they didn't deserve to be punished. Makas Bechoros is much more than that. Makas Bechoros became, we'll see, Umayr Gadol. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared, his Shekhinah came with such great brilliance that the firstborn Egyptian, which by the way, the reason why firstborn Egyptian is because they were the priests. The firstborn served as the priests. And they were the ones that committed the idolatry. They represented the idolatry. So when Hashem appeared with that brilliant light, they withered. But that same light empowered the Jews. Makas Bachoros became the defining moment when the Jews became a Jew, because it separated us from them. So it wasn't just that Hashem spared us. No, that made us. The Makas Bachoros destroyed them because they couldn't handle that revelation. And that light where Hashem appeared, that made us. Okay. So if Makas Bachoros became that moment where we define a moment, obviously it also revolved around the Karban Pesach, which we put on the doorpost. It's not a coincidence, just practically speaking. Many fasts of the Karban Pesach were done to wedge that difference between us and them to create this new identity called Jewish people. So for one thing, the Karban Pesach, unlike any other Karban, had to be barbecued. It was roasted. It wasn't cooked. Now you know the thing about a barbecue is that you could smell it from a block away, right? Cooking, maybe a house away. Barbecue, right? So Hashem insisted on barbecue. Why? Hashem wanted us to be proud and not to come out of the closet, so to speak, and say, we're Jews and we are roasting your Avodah Zarah because we're done with Avodah Zarah. So Hashem wanted to announce it. What better way than by the barbecue, which alerts everybody? Number two, we couldn't break any bones. Right? Why? There are many reasons. Some say because a poor man breaks the bones to get every little piece out of the marrow. But on a simple level also, if you break the bones, you can disguise what this is. Is it a sheep? Is it this? Is it a different kind of animal? No broken bones. Everybody's got to know this was a sheep. Because you Jews have to come out and say, we're proud Jews, we're severing from Avodah Zarah. Third thing, you have to prepare this carbon 4 days in advance. Just to make sure we're not going to pull a fast one. They only, it happened so fast, they didn't even know we're burning the Avodah Zarah. No. They had 4 days notice to know we're taking this. All these things were done to forge who we are, to separate, and that took place finally at Makas Bachoros. I want to end with one thought that really is, it's really not Pesach specific, although it's about Pesach too, and it is Pesach specific. But it's such a beautiful thing. I just saw this recently, so it's kind of something I'm excited about. In Nishmas, right? We say Nishmas every Shabbos, but we say it obviously on Agad as well. In this, we say two sentences which seem to be kind of giving conflicting messages. We say, even if our mouths were as, well, let's find it inside. Even if our mouths would be as, that's right here. Hold on. Oh, by the way, in the Hallel, we split the Hallel in two, right? Mm-hmm. And we eat in between. So it's like an intermission. You go out, middle of the movie, you go out, grab food. It sounds like it's like an intermission, right? It's kind of hard to realize it. It's not an intermission. What it really means is, on night of Pesach, the eating is part of the celebration of the Hallel itself. It's not a breakage of the Hallel. That is part of the Hallel. We're able to celebrate with a meal, and that's part of the Hallel as well. But anyway, in the Nishmas, we say, even if our mouths would be so wide, like the yam, and even if our eyes would be as bright as the sun, we could not adequately express our thank you to Hashem. Right? Very simple. 3 lines later, what we're saying is, therefore, that the limbs you gave us and the breath you put in us, we're going to praise you and sing you and exalt you. What happened to that shift? We went through, we can't do it. We can't. And then 2 minutes later, we're doing it. So the Mezritcher Maggid says like this. It's beautiful. He says, imagine a king announces to a village, he wants to make a visit. And he says, by the way, I'm going to go eat in this guy's house dinner. Guy, this panic stricken. I have nothing to give him. He's a king. I got to really give him something very special. I have nothing to offer him. King understands and says, don't worry. So I'm going to send everything to you. Oh, if you send everything to me, then of course I can do something that's befitting to you. Say, if you look at the words, look at Nishmas, we say this. Ilu finu moshkem. If our mouths were as wide as the sea, and our eyes were as bright as this, we can't adequately do so. Us, our limited human beings, with our limited resources, there's no way we can hope to capture who you are. But a verb shepalakta banu, but the wisdom that you formed in us, the ruach v'neshama sharafakta apenu, but the soul that you endowed us with the stuff you gave us, we can sing your praise. With our own limitations as people, as individuals, as humans, we can't do it. But we're able to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu because of what you gave us. What you endowed us with, the godly qualities you gave us, we can give back with those godly qualities. So it's a beautiful, so there's no, it's not a change. It's a different thing. It's like, me as an individual, me as, coming from my little own self, a finite person, describing an infinite being, no. But the neshama you gave us, everything you gave us, it comes from you, that I can give back to you, like the king who gives the meal, all that I can give back to you. In a sense, on Pesach, really is that kind of idea. Sometimes the rest of the year we might feel a little bit inadequate in what we're accomplishing. We might feel that, that we're not really capturing who we are. On the night of Pesach, we're all being endowed with the highest levels of Kedusha. And so for that we say the Nishmas and all the halas that we say, it's because we feel this incredible, we feel endowed with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Kedusha that He gave us. And that's what we're giving back on Pesach. We're expressing ourselves with the Kedusha that Hashem is empowering us with and endowing us with on this night. We're going to the Memta Shari to Hira, the highest levels of Hira. With that, we can give back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So yes, the Nishmas, well, it certainly applies to every Shabbos, but certainly we're saying on the Seder, it's unique to the Seder too. And on the Seder night, we all feel this really being endowed with this tremendous quality of Kedusha. That the rest of the year, we couldn't do Pesach the rest of the year. We couldn't do Pesach the rest of the year. The night of Pesach, we feel that Kedusha that Hashem is down to. We relive the moment of Pesach. On Pesach, we do Pesach. You can't do it any other time of year. And so, there's a mitzvah to do this. Some people like to keep the Seder as short as possible. It's one night. You can never do the Seder any other night of the year. This is the night. So if you can hold on to it and keep it magical and keep it special, it says until you push it, you sleep overcomes it. Okay, that's when you get human limitations back. But until that point, it's a magical night, and we can't do it the rest of the year. It's the only night that we can do this Hallel. We can relive it, feel like an Am Yisrael in a way that's unusual the rest of the year. I mentioned last time. We'll end with this. The word Haggadah, which means to tell over, also comes from the word Igud. Like Aguda means a union or an organization, or to unite. And so, yes, Haggadah means to say over, but it also, night of Pesach is the way that we unite. Every one of us is holding a Seder. All over the world, we feel united as an Am that way. But it's not just a horizontal uniting, but it's actually vertical as well. We're connecting with our past. If we left Egypt and was something in the Nirtzah part of the Seder, we're focused on the future, there's a sense of unity of Am Yisrael this way, as well as vertically as well. That's the igud that we feel when we go to the night of Pesach, when we say the Haggadah.